Thank you everyone for coming here once again. Thank you those who are outside this stadium, outside this auditorium, because of lack of space. But our hearts are with you. We are connected to you. Though we can't see your faces, or you can't see our faces, but our hearts are connected. So you are as much part of this program as everyone else. And actually, it was thought that a bigger auditorium may be taken to accommodate all the about 800 plus, I believe, or it could be even more. I don't know what is the number right now. I think maybe around 1,000. The more people are sitting outside than inside. So we also thought of putting it in some other location, but then we thought it would be appropriate that we have it here in the City Police Commissionerate headquarters, which is also a landmark building. And many of you would also be interested in seeing this and having a brush with it. So that is the reason. So some of you are sitting outside, but let me again reiterate, we are connected to you through hearts. And let me begin saying this: Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Guru is everything. Guru is the God. Is all three forms of the God. And that is where the civilization takes its shape. That is where the young minds and impressionable minds are shaped into the great creative talents. And with this soul thing in our mind, we thought it is imperative to involve the schools in these tri-commission rates to start with, so as to address this problem of drug menace in our state, and particularly in the urban areas of Hyderabad, Cyberabad and Rachakonda. Friends, every day we listen. Before I became CP here, when I was in some other post, so every day we listen to the stories that the drug abuse is increasing and it is reaching the nooks and corners. It's not leaving the schools and colleges. It's available all around the educational institutions. The drug peddlers are penetrating into the school grounds and the school classes, inside even. And it's not limited to the urban areas. It has even spread to the rural areas, as evidenced by the fact that several seizures of the drug lacerated toffees, chocolates, etc. being seized from outside the schools, from pan dabbas, from the shops that are selling provisions, etc., etc. So the parents express their concern whenever we meet them as police officers, even when as relatives, but they see us as police officers. Our parents express the concern that it is spreading. It's like wildfire. Maybe little exaggeration. Maybe the fearful concerns about this make them speak so, but it can't be denied altogether. It is here to stay. The drug problem is here to stay in our cities, and we have to address it and nip it in the bud. And as you know, and as you have seen in the presentation, it's a bigger menace. It's not just an addiction to a bad thing or to a bad habit. It's not just an addiction where just health of an individual gets affected, and of course the family, the welfare of the family gets affected. Drug network is so big, so bad, so wide, and so wild, and so cruel that it affects the whole nation. It affects the whole international community. The money proceeds, the illegal proceeds, they land into the hands of terrorists who fund their terrorist activities to disrupt the democratic setups all over the world, including our country. They use it to disrupt the social fabric of the inimical countries, to disturb our moral values, the moral moorings, to disturb the nation as a civilization and the civilization as nations. Because terrorists have only one thing in mind: divisive, divide and rule, destroy, destruction, nothing else. So this particular menace, what I would like to tell you is that it is a dangerous It is a very, very dangerous thing, has many, potents which extends to the entire global community and affects the entire global community adversely. And if neglected, and if it is late, I'm sure sometimes you can never retrieve ourselves back. Time to wake up, time to listen, time to pay attention, time to play our respective roles to see that this does not happen, at least in our city, at least in our state. Several forms of drugs, opioids, inhalants, alcohol, sedatives, cannabis, we call it as ganja here, cocaine and other miscellaneous. Lakhs of people are already affected. These are addicts. And the state-wise prevalence, if you see, Telangana is in pink, and it should not enter the red. Red is the next level of propensity, prevalence. So we are already in the pink. You can see the violet is the ultimate or the maximum prevalence of drugs, which is there in the northeastern state. Next. So these are some statistics about recent, right, from 2021 till date. Some huge seizures of drugs in our country. So they seized off Lakshadweep Island. They seized in airports, international airports, and of course the seaports. And what does it mean? So the seaports, they come from across the inimical, from across the seas, from inimical nations, who not only want to profit from this trade, but also wants to destroy our nation's social fabric. Next. What are the factors? Societal, environmental, and personal. So, go back. What does it involve in societal? Students or even persons seeking acceptance from peers, socializing in environments where substance use is normalized. So they think it is, if you take drugs, then you are accepted into a certain community. So then you are fit to be a part of a certain group, a peer group. You don't take, then it's a minus. That you are somebody who is a backward person. That kind of pressure, societal, environmental, easy access to substances, and that's where we have to come together to stop that. The personal stress, daily stress, particularly for the students that we all impose, knowingly or unknowingly. So it leads them to go towards drugs as a stress buster. With the easy availability, so they take easy course to this. Next. How do we help? Of course, the education and awareness. So you have to tell them how dangerous it is, particularly the students, the young minds. You have to tell them how dangerous it is, not only to themselves, as we just discussed, to the entire society and to the nation. And of course, building empathy. These are all psychological programs that we need to undertake. Of course, these differ depending on the the propensity of addictiveness and the degree of addictiveness. Next. The coping with the stress, coping with the with various societal aspects of life. So it requires skills. So unfortunately, in schools today, in our educational institutions today, we focus on teaching people the regular curriculum. We focus on academic excellence, but often forget what a student undergoes, what kind of stress he undergoes on a daily basis, on a day-to-day basis, trying to cope with various aspects of life. And then the stress it causes. And if we ignore stress and only focus on academic excellence, perhaps we are missing and we are astray. Next. Now the role of schools. This is what we have gathered here for. And this is where your role is very important to make this city free of drugs. Number one, schools are advised to conduct surveillance of surroundings, shops, to monitor the sale of edibles or objects that may be associated with drug abuse. Any suspicious activity should not be ignored. So I again repeat here that schools should not think that they take fee only to bring academic excellence to the students and to make their parents happy. It's a holistic approach. Education is not a package. Education is all about life, learning skills, moral values, and many others. It's not about just acquiring skills to get into some good jobs and then to become commercially successful. No, we are not. The institutions should not aim at making students commercially successful products. They should aim at making students a responsible and very conscientious citizenship of the nation. So we have to monitor students for sudden behavioral changes. We have mechanisms to even address this because you have the parents and teachers meetings, association meetings regularized with government instructions and the government policy emphasizing that. So when you observe, and then these things should be discussed in those meetings. Sometimes, of course, not in the open. Maybe if a child's behavioral changes may not be discussed in the entire group of parent-teachers association, but maybe separately. But generally also in these meetings that you should address the concerns, the general concerns, reminding parents about their responsibility to see the child's behavior inside their homes also. Because many of the parents, in urban areas, they're working, both spouses working. So they leave children in the school and then they come back very late from offices. They may not have time except on the weekends to look for these behavioral changes. So schools have to step in because, as I was telling everyone, the most productive part of a student's life up to his 24 years is spent in educational institutions. And that is where, if he is neglected, if you're only focusing on his education and his academic performance or otherwise, then you are certainly, wasting the most productive life of his part of his life, and it leads to various dangerous consequences. So schools have to take responsibility even on behalf of parents, because most of the time they are in the school in these important hours of and the period of their life. Of course, the academic pressures. So we should not only be focusing, as again and again repeat, but this is important. That's why, at the cost of repeating and reiterating, I say, it's not just the academic performance that we must be focusing on it. That kind of pressure should never be put on a student. Okay, it leads to stress, and then the stress is the people who are in the market, in drug market, the mafia, are ready to latch onto this kind of, this sect of people who are reeling under stress and who are looking sideways. And these people, make them immediate gullible targets. Now, so I'll go to the next slide, because we are talking about just one slide again. So to achieve all this, we are talking about the anti-drug committees in each school and what these anti-drug committees should do. So we'll now discuss about that. Next one. This is one pictogram which shows, the 164 pockets of ganja chocolates, 31 kilograms in weight. They were seized in a school, I think in the outskirts of the city. So when I said earlier that the surroundings of the schools and the shops that are selling these drugs, and this is one evidence. And there are many umpteen number of instances. I'm just showing one here. Next. So anti-drug committees, what are you supposed to do? Every school should have it. I think some time back some effort was made, but it remained half-baked, it remained half-hearted. Today, from this place, we must take oath that the anti-drug committees are in place and they work towards, freeing the schools and the society from this menace. So every school should have. The nitty-gritties of that will be worked out in consultation with you. Right now we were thinking each school can have 2 teachers. One of them could be even non-teaching staff, but one should be a teacher, certainly. And they need not be permanent. I mean, every 6 months or so you can change them, no issues. And these 2, people who act as drug committees shall carry out these things. They should own the students. The responsibility and the accountability for their welfare should be owned up. You should look for the various sources of drugs that are coming inside the school or even outside the school in the proximity. Often what we noticed is the schools are not concerned about what is happening just outside their campus. They may be concerned only if something inside the campus happens. So if inside the campus these drugs are not still penetrated into, if you think there's nothing wrong and there is nothing, no danger is present, friends, we are wrong. Just outside the campus, just outside your compound walls, a lot of things are happening. It is not proper for us to neglect this. We have to be aware, we have to be conscious of these things. As I told you, a chocolate selling shop or a provision store abutting your compound or just about 100 meters away from your school, or any other, maybe a pawn shop or a hotel, a coffee or tea stall, all of them may be, the sources of drug supply. All of them may be supplying drugs to the students when they are coming outside during the recess time. And it doesn't take much time, if you neglect this, it doesn't take much time for them to penetrate inside the school, into the playground. And it doesn't take much time, let me tell you, for it to penetrate into the classrooms. So it is our responsibility. You can't just close your eyes saying nothing is happening inside my campus. So why should I bother about what's happening outside my campus? We are not asking you to go and control these things which are a kilometer away from you or 500 meters away from you. We are asking you to keep your eyes open and act upon those things which are happening in your near proximity, immediate proximity of your schools. The responsibility of schools do not end just by, imparting education and then seeing that your campus is clean. Inside the campus, nothing is happening. It goes beyond, I have discussed already. So we have to encourage open dialogue sometimes, either with parents or students. Often what I found is the schools are scared of, of their reputation. Admission about, the prevalence of drugs around their schools, if not inside. It seems to be scaring you because you think, because it will harm the reputation of your school or college, and thereby your demand for the school may go down, and your reputation, of course, of the school also will be marred. This may be true to some extent, but what is fact and what is in existence, is it proper for us to deny it and close our eyes to that? It is good to maintain our reputation. It is most welcome to see that your schools and also the surroundings are drug free, and all the efforts that are required you must make, and all the support that is required from police and the education department, you will get it. But if you close eyes to what is happening around and then think that, talking anything about it would mar your reputation, would only ultimately destroy not only your school but everyone. So that you should come out of that mindset. There should be a free dialogue with all stakeholders to prevent this menace inside and around your schools. Trained students can become ambassadors. The good students, some of the Most of them are good, of course. Academically, some may be lagging behind, but they can be most creative brains. Use them. You can use them. You can use some of the parents, who are very talented nowadays, to design some programs that brings awareness. And they can become your ambassadors. So finally, committee should cultivate a culture of prevention, support and empowerment of a brighter future. Next. So for that, you have to educate yourself. You should understand what is, what is the drug menace, what are the harmful effects of drug, how it comes, what are the various substances. I showed in the very first slide that many people may think drug means something which they put and then put a lighter, then lit it and then smoke. No, some inhalers which look very harmful, maybe like your normal inhalers that are used for cold and cough. And many of them, there are many variants. So you should educate yourself. You should educate yourself about we'll help you in this regard. Organize events or clubs focused on sports, arts, music, etc. This is, of course, to alleviate the regular academic pressure under which the students are reeling. Next. Forum. What is this forum? Once drug committees are placed, inside the schools, there will be a forum. We can call it a forum. We can call it you can put any name. Right now we are calling it as a forum. Forum which comprises of police, the officers from education department, and the women and child, and of course the NGOs, if we want them to be part of. So the certain schools will be grouped under these forums. Say some 15, 20 or 30, 40 schools will be grouped. So if there is anything that is beyond your hands, beyond your reach of things to, and need the intervention of police or the government, so these forums will be available. And they will be immediately taking what the required steps to alleviate when the things are, become little serious. Example could be, a student who is drug addict and then he is refusing to listen, he is creating ruckus, and you are not able to control it, even after informing his parents. Or a deadly fellow, a deadly drug peddler who is trying to create problem, who is trying to, supply these drugs, narcotic substances to the students, and you find that at your level you can't control him. Otherwise also, as a matter of precaution, I would like to tell here that the drug committees need not take any enforcement action by themselves. It's up to you if you can take, because you have got, schools are big, you have got your own teaching, non-teaching staff, and there are any number of students. So one panwala, if he is selling and then you ask him to stop and he is trying to create a ruckus, it doesn't take much time to control him and then hand over him to police. But still, option is left to you. If you think enforcement, you should not step in because it will invite unnecessary problems. This forum, you can inform the forum. We'll do the rest of the job. We'll not even tell who has informed. We'll not even tell where from this information came. So we'll quietly raid and, close the shop and then arrest the people concerned. The rest all, of course, are more academic than next slide. So various stakeholders that involve in making our society drug free. And one more thing I want to talk about is the curriculum, which of course our chief guest, Sri B. Venkatesham, the Principal Secretary, Education Department, Education, he will, I think, detail more, and also the Commissioner Education, Srimati Devasena. So the Telangana government and the Principal Secretary and Commissioner, they are very keen to ensure that a curriculum is in place in all schools to educate people about this drug menace and to educate not only the students, but also the teachers, the parents, about the dangers of drug abuse, about the behavioral changes that these drugs would cause, and about the alleviative steps that we are supposed to take. And of course, also telling the students about resisting from drugs, how it harms the individuals, how it harms the families, how it harms the society, how it harms the nation, and how it harms the entire global community. How bad it is to take into this, to fall into the trap of drug abuse, and how to come out of it, even if it need be, where there is a need for rehabilitation and de-addiction. So what to be done? So these things all put together, about 20 sessions in a year, in an academic year. So we would request all the schools to adopt it. A draft has been made, a well prepared draft. It will be circulated to all of you, soft copies, and you can suggest any necessary changes in that. 20 sessions in a year, in an academic year of about, I think, 34 weeks, and 20 sessions. So maybe every 2 weeks or 1.5 week a session. It will go a long way in educating our students, their parents, and ourselves about the dangers of this drug, so that people don't easily fall prey because of the peer pressure, because of the curiosity they have, and because of, basically, yeah. So because of, because of the fashion or the fad that is there for drugs. This is what I wanted to say from this forum. I once again thank all of you for coming in big number. So from here, we must take practical steps and very, very long-lasting steps to implement these things, to put all these things that have been discussed in place, so that we, in the coming years, we make our city, our state, Telangana state, a drug-free state. The danger is, if you neglect, it is so pervasive and it is so fast, like wildfire. It can encompass all of us in no time. So, better late than never. I think it is already a little late, but better late than never. Let's start these things. And before ending my speech here, I thank all the dignitaries who are present on the dais. Today we have, so after me, I am the presiding officer for this function. So, and then I made this introductory remarks. But today you have to listen to the people, the distinguished guests who are present on the dais. Our chief guest, Sri Burra Venkateshan Garu, IAS, the Principal Secretary Education, and our Chief of the Telangana State Anti-Narcotics Bureau, Sri Sandeep Sandile Garu, the Director General of Police, and of course, the representatives from police, my colleague, dear colleague from Hyderabad, Avinash Mohanty, dear colleague from Rajkonda, CP Rajkonda, Tarun Joshi, my additional CP Law and Order Vikram, and of course the SASC. Towards the end, I should not forget the pain and the effort that the Hyderabad City Security Council has taken to organize this event, to make it success. They're very conscientious people. We are lucky to have their support. We are lucky to partner with them. So together now, when we also now partner with you in this most important campaign against drugs, and together we'll make our Telangana state and Hyderabad and surroundings drug-free. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
లవ్, ఈ అందమైన 4 అక్షరాల బారిన పడని మనిషి ఉండరు, మనసు ఉండదు. ఈ లవ్ కొంతమంది జీవితానికి సరిపడా మధురమైన అనుభూతులను అందిస్తే, మరికొంతమందికి జీవితాంతం వెంటాడే చేదు జ్ఞాపకాలను మిగిల్స్తుంది. లైలా మజ్ను, పార్వతీ దేవదాస్, ఈ 2 కథల్లో మజ్ను లైలా ప్రేమ కోసం ఎంత పరితపించాడో విన్నాం. దేవదాస్ పార్వతి ప్రేమ కోసం ఎంత పిచ్చోడయ్యాడో చూసాం. కానీ లైలా మజ్ను ప్రేమ కోసం ఎంత ఆరాటపడిందో మనం ఆలోచించలేదు. దేవదాసు దూరమయ్యాక పార్వతి పరిస్థితి ఏంటో మనం అర్థం చేసుకోలేదు. ప్రేమ నుండి నుండి పెళ్లి వరకు వెళ్ళలేకపోయినా ఎంతో మంది అమ్మాయిల బ్రేకప్ స్టోరీస్తో మీ లవ్ టుడే.